We welcome all of you to ESPN Thursday Night Hoops, presented by T. Rowe Price, as the Tennessee Volunteers take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. You can check the top of the SEC East. On this day, everyone expected to see Tennessee, and hardly anybody expected to see South Carolina. But here they are, locked in a dogfight. If Tennessee wins tonight, they'll wrap up the East. If South Carolina wins, they will wrap up at least a share of the East. They lost their only meeting earlier at the hands of the Volunteers in Knoxville, Tennessee. Welcome, everybody. Along with Coach Bob Knight, I'm Brent Musburger. They are so fired up tonight in Columbia, South Carolina. Bob, what do you make of this showdown with Tennessee?
I think a lot's going to depend on Tennessee's press. It can either be good for Tennessee or it can be good for South Carolina. And whichever way that press goes, I think will be a big factor in determining this game. But obviously, it's a very important game. You know, you use that phrase, every game's important. I mean, I don't care if the first game or the last game, they're important.
And South Carolina has been one of the surprise teams of the year, making a run for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Coach Horn has done a really good job with his team, and the guards have played extremely well. They have as tough a pair of guards to play against defensively. Whether you're playing man-to-man or zone, I think as any school in the country has.
And Bob, I look at our starting lineups for the visiting Volunteers of Tennessee. Some great athletes on the floor. Tyler Smith, Bobby Mays, Wayne Chisholm, who was scoreless in that first game, J.P. Prince, and Scotty Hobson. Hobson, the freshman, with a whole lot of upside to his game. And they're matched against the Gamecocks of South Carolina, 20-7 overall. And we see that Mike Holmes, Sam Muldrow, Dominique Archie, and then those two guards, Sam Frederick and Devin Downey. And Holly Rowe, Devin Downey is the key to whatever the Gamecocks do offensively, isn't he?
Well, I asked UT coach Bruce Pearl how they would go about guarding Devin Downey. He said, look, people across this league have tried everything. It is impossible to guard Devin Downey one-on-one. So tonight, what Tennessee plans to do, he said, we'll use our length to build a wall at the top of the three-point line, try to stop his penetration. We'll have to help on defense. And he said our big guys will have to really move our feet in case we switch on ball screens. When I asked Devin Downey how he'll respond to all that, he said, that's the good thing about me. I know how to adjust.
He's only 5'9", and he might remind you of a Muggsy Bogues or a Spud Webb. Can't dunk like those two, but he can really move, get down the floor in a hurry, Bob.
The two guards really complement one another too, Brent. And they took the ball to bucket a lot, but when they do so, they have great vision. They're looking for help defense to slide over, and if it does, they're going to get the ball to somebody cutting that's open.
And his running mate in that backcourt, Sam Frederick. His father, a national scoring leader. And he came out, was introduced during senior night. And Sam was a great guard here at South Carolina. So with Frederick and Downey, as Coach Knight has said, that makes us a very dangerous South Carolina team. Bruce Pearl, meanwhile, has done a spectacular job since moving to Tennessee. He's been a master salesman and recruiter, and he's just done one heck of a job of rejuvenating, re-energizing that game over in Knoxville. He has become such a big part of the local Tennessee scene. And here is young Darren Horn, who grew up in Lexington, Kentucky, went to Western Kentucky, an academic All-American, and led Western Kentucky to the Sweet 16 a year ago. We are underway. Frederick gets the opening tap handoff and a rejection immediately by J.P. Prince with that long reach.
Tennessee's going to have a little bit of an advantage physically inside, I think. Brent, that's another thing that will go in their favor along with their press if it works.
He opens up his final game in Columbia with a three ball from Zam the man. Mays sets the table. Chisholm was scoreless in the first game. Mays, the ball handler, number 3. Here's their go-to guy, Tyler Smith, a transfer from Iowa. He'll take it in. and a blocking foul against the Gamecocks.
That's a situation where you've got to pull up at 6 or 8 feet and take the shot. But South Carolina got hung up on a cross, and both switched to the same man, and that opened up everything for Smith to go to the bucket. So if they are going to switch everything on the perimeter, they've got to do a much better job talking to each other.
That foul was on Holmes, Bob, and as Coach Horn told us, he can ill afford his big guys to get into early foul trouble because he does not have a lot of depth at those positions.
You know, that's what we're talking about. You and I were talking about a moment ago. They've got a little advantage of size, and as you indicated, though, Chisholm did not score in the last game, played against South Carolina in Knoxville, but he could be a huge factor in the game tonight.
You can see that Mays picked up Downey high, as Holly reported. And they're trying to form that wall so he can't penetrate against it. Moving quickly without the ball. There is that quickness getting the shot.
Shot fake, Brent. He got the defensive man in the air, one dribble, and got up. That's as good a play as I've seen all year. I love that shot fake. Walk.
Smith has to give it up to the corner, and he won't be scoreless in this game. Wayne Chisholm drains a three.
You know, he combines the ability to shoot adequately from outside with great inside stuff.
And getting loose was Mike Holmes.
Holmes really protected the ball when he went up. He used the basket to protect the ball.
Muldrow did not buy the fake. Did not leave the ground on Smith.
Smith did a good job of not walking on that fake. Now, this is where Chisholm is most effective.
And leaving alone on the other side Prince, and he puts it back for an offensive putback field goal.
There had to be a rotation back by South Carolina from on top there, Brent, to cover the offside, and they didn't get it as both men got caught on Chisholm.
And another three ball. This one knocked down by Frederick, his second of the night. So the Gamecocks start out hitting 4 of 5 and kissing it off the glass is Bobby Mays.
Well, there Mays did a great job pulling up before he got involved with what might have been a charging foul.
Coming again. He's now free. They can't put out the blaze by Frederick.
Frederick did a great job using screens on the baseline to get open, and the screeners did a very good job, and he got set for the shot.
And Mays came right back down, didn't give him any seconds before he scored.
And that's Tennessee's game. If they get scored against, they're going to try and get it down just as quick as they possibly can and get it back.
Bruce Pearl wants that defense to tighten up on number 20 here in the early going, and so Archie will drive in. Tap back by Muldrow, no. And yanked back down by Chisholm. Spinning move in underneath and a wraparound, but a putback for Tyler Smith.
That's the same kind of bucket they got 2 possessions ago with the defense all going to the ball and nobody rotating back to cover the offside.
And a drive through and got the bounce down. He scores his second. All these guards, they look magnificent in the early going for South Carolina.
You know, both teams are doing a great job of taking the ball to the bucket on the offense, but they're not getting the kind of help on defense. A really good dribbler has an advantage over the man guarding him, and that's where help is so important to keep the dribbler from getting into a position where he can score.
Chisholm with a pass in tight for an assist and one coming up. That was a beautiful feed. We're going to take a break right now. Folks, this one is going to be a dandy. Both teams blazing away in the early going. On senior night, Zam Frederick nails 3 3-balls early. 6 of 8 from the field. We've had 4 3-balls drained and none missed.
You know, they're both doing a great job, both inside and outside. And here we're going to show a really unusual situation, Brent. The Chisholm, the big man, a great pass going to the bucket. You know, a lot of big guys can get it in and throw it back out, but that's a tremendous pass that Tennessee's big man makes on the way to the bucket, realizing help is sliding to cover him, and he has vision to see the open man. Anytime somebody drives toward the bucket, it's at least as important that they see where their teammates are as it is to get to the basket.
And Tyler Smith, fouled on the play, will shoot for the lead for the Volunteers. Up by one as Brian Williams, the big sophomore center, number 33, has checked in now.
Now this will be a trap press here. Maybe at midcourt, they're not going to trap full court. No, they're going to just give a little harassment right there, and then they'll jump into trap press, hoping to catch the Gamecocks a little bit off balance.
Muldrow screens. Downey comes around. Holmes is down low, trying to back Williams down, and Williams is a big youngster, and he muscled him out of the low post. Got him out on top where they want him with 5 on the shot. Good defense by Williams. Here comes Downey with 3 on the shot. The 3 is off and into Williams' hand. Williams, fine defense. Here's Tyler Smith now for the Vols.
Tennessee's done a great job getting the ball down the floor and getting good shots, although they passed up a good shot there to throw it away.
Frederick, 3 of 4, his first miss. Long pass, wide open Prince. He won't miss this one. Flushed it. I'll tell you, he's been quiet, and so he's over there watching right now with Scotty Hobson, and they put Big Williams in the game. Williams played well over in Knoxville against them, gives them more size against a little bit of an undersized Gamecock team.
Tennessee did a good job fighting through the screens on the baseline that time, and if they do that, they're going to take a little bit away from the South Carolina offense, because that's a big thing for you.
Here comes Downey. Tried to penetrate. Passes now to Archie. Archie missing from range, and the Volunteers are starting to force them out by the perimeter now. And if they're going to miss the 3 balls, it's going to be tough going. Inside to Williams. Missed an easy one.
Well, they've just gotten a lot of shots whereas South Carolina comes back in conversion defense, they're just not alert to where the Tennessee players are.
Downey on a pull-up and a roll in. Tab, who had checked in, nails the 3 ball.
Well, they left him open there. South Carolina is just not picking up either shooters that are left open or people that are driving to the bucket. They're having some real confusion on the defensive end when they convert from the offensive end.
Well, let's see if you remember this, Coach Knight.
I want to say to these 4 seniors as they come up here, you have been 4 outstanding basketball players. You've been 4 tremendous people to have here in Indiana. You're 4 people that I'm really proud of. I'm going to miss them.
Calvert Chaney was one of the 4, Bob. Greg Graham, Matt Nover, Chris Reynolds. Wonderful time.
4 really, really good kids, and kids that just played their hearts out. They were a part of one of my favorite teams, those 4 kids. And I always liked senior night, and I waited till the game was over so the kids really had time to express their thanks to their parents, fans, and people at the university that had helped them.
What about the speaking by the players? What did you tell them about that and what happened one night?
We had one kid get a little bit too carried away with his goodbye speech, and I had him run laps after he got done with his speech, and we never had an extended thank you again.
Red General gets the job done. All right, the Volunteers coming down here. It's a 12-4 Tennessee run right now over the last 4 minutes. And that has allowed them here in this game to open up a 4-point lead.
Tennessee's got a very, very physical team on the floor right now. Much more physical. They can score with anybody in the post.
And missing that turnaround was Wayne Chisholm with the left hand.
Made a good move back with his left hand.
The Gamecocks are trying to put out this fire, and this defense has been muscling them. Archie with a quick pass, and it is blocked and into Chisholm's hands, and here they come, Tyler Smith.
Tennessee does a really good job of looking for open people when they've got the ball on the dribble, and particularly when they're taking it to the bucket. It really impresses me, their vision thus far.
So Frederick will take a break. And Coach Horn will go to his bench to try to match up. The one thing about Pearl, he's very, very deep. He'll easily go 10 deep in a hurry, leaving Smith on the floor, and Smith driving for another hoop, and they continue this run. They have dominated over the last few minutes.
A lot of coaches, and me included at times, are hesitant to use the bench, but that's the strength that Bruce has. He uses the bench, he keeps people rested, he gets everybody in the ball game.
And Lelius is out there along with Rayleigh Ross. Here is Holmes stepping out. That's probably not where they want him, although he can be effective from the perimeter. Smith kicks.
You made a great comment a moment ago about South Carolina being kept out on the perimeter. That's not going to go. And they've absolutely done that, and yet Tennessee has got inside at the other end consistently.
Well, they're trying to use their size, aren't they, Coach?
Yeah, if they go inside like they did and keep going inside, they're going to get to the free throw line an awful lot, I think.
Smith a little bit out of control, but Williams has it stolen away. Downey can't control, and timeout is called. Did Valentine get it? Yes. On the floor, the timeout was called by the Volunteers. In danger of losing the ball. So coming up now, we'll continue our countdown to the top 30 plays of the last 30 years. Saturday, ESPN has two very important college basketball games. First at noon, Michigan and Minnesota. That's a bubble showdown, and congratulations to Tubby Smith and the Gophers. They beat Wisconsin last night. Then, Bobby, you'll be at the primetime game, Louisville and West Virginia. I'm assuming the Mountaineers have to win that game, right?
Well, I would think so.
And the Volunteers continue.
Ooh, we just had something here, Brandon, a contrast defensively for both teams. Tennessee, as you said, has kept things on the perimeter, but South Carolina has really given up a lot of penetration.
Downey stays at the perimeter and drains the three.
Now, his threes have been the difference so far in this game being close or Tennessee being way ahead.
Bobby Mays out running the floor. Here's Prince. Pass was a little high and high.
A little bit hard. You're absolutely right.
Downey pulls up and it rims out. They've always got the green light, these guards, and meanwhile, Prince shovels it into the inside. And scoring is Negadu, who had checked in. Emmanuel Negadu.
That was a great pass. Prince was going too fast to put the ball on the floor, and yet he didn't walk with it and made a great pass.
Efka with another three. Cornelius adds to it. Back to within four. South Carolina is living by the three. You know the rest of that sentence. Live by it, die by it. Steal.
Real mistake.
Rayleigh Ross inside. Downey did a good job.
Real mistake by Mays. He's double teamed and he tried to go through it with a dribble instead of getting rid of it, and that cost him the bucket there. Good defensive play by South Carolina.
So we will take the media break at 9:33. And suddenly it's a two-point game again, 27-25.
March features the best sports lineup tailored for the true sports fan. 16 nations show off their pride on the 2009 World Baseball Classic. Wednesday and Friday nights, sit back and enjoy NBA action. Fridays are reserved for fantastic fights on Friday Night Fights. What are you made of? All this and more in March, only on ESPN.
Thanks for picking me up. This is so cool. I remember Game 6 of the finals. You just took over the game, and everybody's like, wow. But I wasn't surprised at all, because you're the truth. Truth always comes through. Can I touch you?
ESPN, your NBA destination all season long.
Wild Wings presents the top 30 plays of the last 30 years. Number 7, U.S. Reed's half-court heave.
Reed now 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Reed trying to dribble, 2 seconds, 1 second, long shot. Got it! Got it! Holy Smith! The David Griffin! Holy Smith! Unbelievable! I can't believe it! It is incredible!
Tune in to ESPN Saturday at 9 Eastern for Louisville against West Virginia, and you will see the number 1 play of the last 30 years on March 15th during the ACC Championship. Saturday night, we're down to number 6. So we look at some of the major storylines. Kentucky versus Florida Saturday in the SEC. That has become a major bubble game. And 6 home losses for the Wildcats, tied for the second most in school history. Memphis winning its 57th consecutive Conference USA game. And referring to Kentucky, folks, there's a hot seat over there. And Billy Gillespie, the coach, is sitting firmly in it. Must-win game down at Gainesville for the Wildcats on Saturday. Kentucky not yet out of it, in a battle to get an at-large. And here, Bob, in this game, we've got the Freeze versus the driving Volunteers, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because, as you mentioned, South Carolina, I think they've hit 6 threes so far. But Tennessee, unless South Carolina can cut off the drive to the bucket, Tennessee will get control of this game. Now, that's one of the, I think that's the second or third bucket that the Gamecocks have gotten inside, which is good for their offense.
And that was Holmes banging it in low. Defender falls. Here comes Hobson back on the floor, and it's blocked beautifully.
That block was the best help defense that South Carolina's had so far tonight. I'd like to get Chisholm inside, I think, if I was Tennessee, because he's the most effective player they have going either directions inside. And
Holmes on a putback again. So they decided to try that low block after that timeout. Holly, what did Coach Pearl say to his Volunteers?
Well, he was fired up and he was angry at their defense. He said, guys, we're resting on defense. What are we doing out there? We're resting. That does not win championships. Guys, he called a timeout right here again because he's frustrated with their defense. He had one of the assistants come into the huddle and he said, look, their guards already have 23 points in this game. 23 points. The guards are kicking our you-know-what. Boy, he was fired up.
You know what's interesting, Bob, is that the Gamecocks got great production out of their guards, but during that timeout, and you and I think Horn's one of the best young coaches in the country, they pounded it down low and surprised the Volunteers again going to Holmes.
well, I think if they can combine that outside shooting they've had with some inside scoring, which they got on the last possession, it's going to be a lot different offense for Tennessee to have to play against. But what Tennessee hasn't done really is got into the shooters outside. They've given the shooters room. They haven't got into their hands. When kid's going up to take the shot, you got to get into his hands. You got to make him adjust the ball, or if he just has a rhythm where he goes straight up, then good shooters are going to hit those shots.
Sellout crowd here, downtown Columbia, the capital of South Carolina. Basketball revitalized. And a blocking foul as Prince attempts to turn the corner. I think we have to say something about Coach Odom, who was here before Darren. He did not leave the cupboard bare, and that is important when a young coach comes in. And I think Darren Orn would tell you that they had done a good, solid job of recruiting here and picked up a couple of transfers.
Oh, no question. Dave Odom is an excellent coach, and I think what he did here at South Carolina was outstanding work, and you're absolutely right. Darren has done a really good job taking advantage of the players and how they had been developed by Dave Odom and his staff.
Tyler Smith hitting a good turnaround, and that snapped a 12-2 run over the last 3 minutes.
Tennessee really hasn't, in any possession thus far, gone into its trapping press either at midcourt or at the full court.
Trying to set that wall out here on Frederick and Downey, and Frederick on the run, tap back Holmes, no, and Williams cleans it up, and here comes Smith.
Well, they've got a real advantage here.
Hobson ships it inside, tap back, no, South Carolina survives it until Hobson cut, very athletic freshman, and it may have been off Archie, was it? They're going to get help. Now they try to straighten it out if that ball was off South Carolina. And that is the rule. And we'll take a media timeout here. Tennessee and South Carolina, the battle for the SEC East, deadlocked at 29.
Any kid I've seen, he's really big and long going to the bucket. He has great vision going to the bucket, and he does a heck of a job defensively for a freshman.
And Downey, speaking of guards, coming back the other way, I think he was saying, hey, Bob, don't forget me. Consider me.
Well, he is very quick, and that was the first time that Tennessee has really been beaten in conversion defense. That's been the weakness for the Gamecocks going the other way, but they turned it around there, and Downey did a great job of forcing the ball to the bucket.
Downey shoots the Gamecocks ahead again here. Both teams have had good solid runs. We've got 7:23 to go in the opening half. Downey with 10 points to go along with his 3 assists. Williams operating down low for the balls.
Good switch by South Carolina right there. If they switch well, they got to have some help on that, or that's exactly what's going to happen.
Got an easy layup.
They had to have help from the side. They got guy moved there. Well, that was a tough pass. But they're getting hurt with people being left open on drives at the other end. South Carolina's being hurt.
There's an offensive rebound off a missed 3 ball by Frederick, and Downey going to reset with a fresh 35. And now he wants Archie to come out for a high pick. Off the dribble, lost it. Smith got it.
Smith did a great job on the switch that time. He didn't foul. He had good footwork, good position. Tennessee, I like this for Tennessee. They're using up a little bit of time. They're getting people into position, and now they're going to make a move to the bucket.
Over to the corner for the 3 ball. Not there. And Williams fouled, rebounding.
That had to be a charge call before that.
And Pearl is very upset about the Holmes flop. Yesterday at practice, Pearl was very animated, claiming that Holmes is the leading flopper. He said Holmes should be in the NBA. He can flop so well.
If that was a bad call there, the right team got the ball because they missed a charging call on Tennessee about 3 seconds before that call. Now that was really, really good help. And to me, there was a walk at the end of that. He got stopped. He slid his feet. That should not have been a scored bucket there.
But Frederick gets an assist, putting it in the hands of Archie, and Dominique flushed it. And South Carolina is up by 1-point margin here. Tyler Smith is doubled, turns it over.
Put it on the floor. He was in traffic, put it on the floor instead of just a fake and a move and find somebody else.
And Frederick is fouled on the shot. He will shoot a pair.
One of the things that I always liked least about our defensive play was if a kid's in the process of taking a difficult shot, a shot that's going to be hard to make, and we'd foul him. That's like saying, here's a birthday present for you.
A game that when the season began, no one thought would be as important as it is here tonight. But Darren Horn and the Gamecocks have had a tremendous season. And here they are deadlocked at the top. Tennessee won the first meeting in Knoxville, so if the Vols win tonight, they will wrap up the SEC East. Meanwhile, South Carolina needs a win here. Then it's in their destiny to beat Georgia. And how about that win by the Dogs last night over in Kentucky? It was upset Wednesday, folks. Every time you turned around, there was a shocking score coming in. Northwestern winning at Purdue. They've now won road games at Purdue and Michigan State. And a foul is called on Archie. You're not agreeing with that whistle, I don't think.
Let's run that one again. That was a really good switch by South Carolina. Here comes a dribbler. I'm not sure. They kind of both bumped each other a little bit. Prior to that, though, it was a great defensive switch, and I think could have easily resulted in a bucket for South Carolina. South Carolina's defense has picked up.
Here's Tab, shovels it to Williams inside. Nice hesitation hoop. And if you look at the sideline as they come down here, you will see that the coach has gone coatless. He has shed the sport coat, and Bruce Pearl now in that white T-shirt, golf shirt that he wears. He's getting serious, Coach.
I used to take that coat on.
Yes, you did. Beautiful plaid jackets.
I took it off at home.
And Holmes, he's been a force down there on that left block.
You know, the last Tennessee bucket was another example of being on the move with the ball and knowing where everybody was, and there's another one right there.
And a great Woodrow block. Tatum comes back, and it bounces in for him after the offensive rebound. Cameron Tatum, another of the fine freshmen. What a young Tennessee team this is. They lost some of their great players. Lofton, of course, the leader from a year ago. And that's against offensive foul is the call on Dominique Archie. Yes, sir, folks. This is getting serious. Yeah, I can't get one of Knight's sweaters off that fast, but I'm shedding this right now.
Yeah, I could have.
Right out. I remember a final for the Big Ten, 38-33, Penn State over Illinois.
Well, this is a lot more athletic game than's played in the Big Ten, Brent, as you well know. Both teams have been very quick defensively. Particularly Tennessee has been awfully good with the drive to the bucket. They take it, and what they do is drive and look. The look has resulted in more buckets than the drive has. And that's simply because the man with the ball is really paying attention to where his teammates are and then looking to get them the ball if there's help.
And Smith on a fade to the left. Put back is blocked. Chisholm Muldrow up.
Ooh, run that one again. Ooh. Yeah, let's see. I'm not sure about this as a goaltend here. I don't think that's a goaltend. He got it on the way up and slapped it against the board.
But it does put Tennessee ahead by a deuce, and now it's tied. Muldrow got it right back. After that fine block, which was called goaltending, he gets it at the other end.
The defense on the perimeter that time got caught on the inside, and there was a great drive made, and with that drive, the defense had to help and cover, and it left the postman open.
Efka rebounds into Downey's hands with that great speed, but it couldn't stay down. And Ronaldo Woolridge is also on the floor. There's Smith down low, battling Muldrow left hand. He's a fine-looking player.
Oh, Smith did a great job fighting for the ball, but going back to that last South Carolina bucket, the drive on the outside, the poor defense on the drive, the beginning of the drive, is what resulted into the bucket inside.
Holmes' shot is blocked by Chisholm. Now Mays running the floor again, sets up the three from Hobson, and he's on the scorebook.
Hobson was all set to shoot the ball, and that's what a shooter has to be. Stepped into catching the pass with his shooting foot, his right foot going forward, and was able to get right up into the shot.
That's probably what Hobson does best, Bob, as a freshman. He would be learning the rest of the game, and Rayleigh Ross got trapped up in the air. That's traveling, turned it over. Reminder, Friday, ESPN, your NBA destination. The two top teams in the East battle, LeBron James and the Cavaliers, go to Boston to take on the Celtics. Then at 10:30, it'll be the Nuggets taking on the Jazz. The NBA on ESPN and also ESPN360.com on Friday. Tennessee here with the lead, 42-37, up by 5.
Tennessee hasn't used the ball screen a whole lot. Look at that back cut. Really a good back cut. Now that's a goaltend right there.
And that one's not called. Muldrow went over and it certainly looked like goaltending.
That's an absolute goaltend there. Great shot fake.
And Rayleigh Ross on the drive. Muldrow's been very active. Can't tap that one back in. Here comes Mays. Numbers for the Volunteers. And he fed Chisholm beautifully.
They're getting too many conversion buckets when they have an advantage. They had a 3-on-2 advantage, and they just couldn't be covered. And they do such a good job looking for each other on the break, and they got that bucket because of an advantage in conversion.
44-37. Volunteers are up. And a holding foul away from the ball on Hobson.
Conversion defense, Brent, the whole idea of it is like we're down here, the old Civil War general Nathan Bedford Forrest said, get there firstest with the mostest, and that's what you've got to do defensively against the break. And the Volunteers are doing a great job offensively, outnumbering South Carolina on conversion.
The three, there's a whistle, a foul as it goes up over the top, and Pearl's upset.
Well, there's no reason to be upset with the officiating there. That was a dumb play on the part of the defense. You're going to see good pressure on the shooter, and he goes on into him, and you can't do anything but call a foul on a situation like that. He didn't stop his momentum. When you're going out on a shooter, you've got to get to him and get your feet stopped to put pressure on him rather than going into him and putting pressure with your feet moving. Because if your feet are moving, you're going to wind up fouling the guy and putting a guy that's taken a low percentage shot on the line for a crack at three.
Amazing. Frederick misses 2 free throws, and now the third one. Started out the game, as you just joined us, with 3 consecutive 3 balls. Down by 6. The Gamecocks retreat defensively. Downey will pick up Mays before he gets across the timeline. Bounce pass by Tyler Smith. Trapped inside is Mays. And violation. It'll go on over to the Gamecocks, and that's the 7th turnover.
South Carolina did a great job of helping out on the driver, and there's a very good call made. It could have either been a 3-second call or a 5-second call, either one. There's a good officiated play there.
Austin Steed on the floor for the Gamecocks. Downey with a tough jumper, and the little man knocks it down.
You know, what a great play that was, Brent, because we've talked about this before. Downey pulled up. Instead of getting into a situation where he was going to get tied up or charged, and he pulled up for that little 12-foot shot. What a smart play.
Tyler misses. So too does Chisholm. Ball out of bounds, and they rule Tennessee. Crowd thought there was a traveling earlier in this sequence by the Volunteers, and up to check in it. They got Turner's Prince.
They got that call overruled.
So it is corrected, and the officials have got their hands full in this athletic contest.
You know, for our viewing audience out there, when a call is overruled, it has to be, the overruling official has to be absolutely, positively certain that he saw the play better than the official that called the play.
And Lilius takes it out of bounds. He's on the floor. Efka now, and he's got some range. The man from Europe.
South Carolina gets a bucket here. It would be awfully important going off at the half because they had a 7-point deficit, and they've taken 3 of that away, and this would be take it almost to an even half.
Downey ships it, and it is off Efka's hands. They turn it over. Tennessee has time. They've got 4.7 if they hurry, and Horn quickly sends some size out. Steed returns.
Watch Tennessee get 3 people pretty deep here, I would think. Although they've got to release at midcourt. I think I'd want to pick up here and get as much pressure on the inbounds pass as possible. Now they're going to give it up, and he's going to go hard with it all the way to the bucket.
At the buzzer. Smith misses. The Tyler Smith. He was the leader with 13, 5 of 7, and a pair of rebounds for the Volunteers here.
He's one of those guys that can do a lot of things, Brent. He can play on the outside, he can play on the inside, and he can do a really, really good job defensively.
So a very entertaining first half, and Tennessee will take a 4-point lead into the locker room. The Gamecocks were favored here tonight, but only by a field goal. UPF's halftime report. Let's go to John Saunders. Take it away, Big John. welcome you back to Columbia for ESPN Thursday Night Hoops. It's presented by T. Rowe Price. We had a dynamic first half with 9 ties and 5 lead changes. Tennessee leads it by 4 with Bob Knight. I'm Brent Musburger. Bob, there is one stat working against South Carolina, rebounding right now, 21-9 in favor of the Volunteers. And as you pointed out to me, it's 7 offensive rebounds.
Well, I think that's been a big factor that you and I discussed, the 7 offensive rebounds. And then I also think that the advantage to Tennessee is 11-5 in scoring off the bench. And it's really important in any game, particularly when you're substituting, that guys coming in, and Tennessee substitutes a lot, so those guys scored 25% of the points coming off the bench. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and here are the full stats as you can take a look at them from the first half. Tyler Smith leading the way with 13. Devin Downey had 12. And Holly, did you have a chance to chat with Darren Horn when he came out of the locker room?
I did, and he just reiterated what Coach Knight's been saying all first half. We did a really, really bad job on transition defense. I said, what has to change? He said, simply, we got to get back. We've got to get the ball stopped. He also pointed out their deficiency on the rebounds, and he said it can't just be our big guys. Our perimeter guys have to run to the basket, help out our bigs. Now, Bruce Pearl was pretty animated, as you can guess. He said they're just not doing a good job on South Carolina's guards. He said, we did a good job on the ball screens, but then they do great on penetration. He said, we have to make Devin Downey use that ball screen. We have to direct where he's going, not him.
All right, Holly, and for those of you who've just joined us, I should point out, we're just after 8 in the East, and this game has major implications for the SEC East. LSU, of course, has already won the West, even though they were one of the upset victims last night when Vanderbilt beat them on senior night. But if Tennessee wins, they lock up the SEC East. If South Carolina wins, they lock up a share. But they would also have to beat Georgia to have it all to themselves. And, of course, the winner of the East would avoid LSU until the SEC final in that tournament next week down in Tampa. So here we go. Tennessee with the first possession. Smith with 13, now has 15.
He was able to turn the corner, and he had a half a step on the defense, and that's all he needed because South Carolina, again, missed the opportunity to slide. You know, one thing that I'd like to see Tennessee do offensively is to use Chisholm more inside, and he would be able to do an awful lot of damage, I think, given the ball inside. They got a little bit of a mismatch, and Tennessee had great help there, and going to be a foul.
As Archie attacked, and now he'll move to the free throw line.
Watch the help on the post man right there, and nobody rotated back or got into position to cover the feed-off pass. It was a great pass that was made to Archie, and he did a good job blowing by what could have been a charging violation had the Tennessee defender gotten all the way in front of him. But the first defender helped, the second defender didn't move, and that's what defense is all about. It can't just be the first guy moving to help.
Tyler Smith picking up his first foul. Archie has 5 points for the Gamecocks. For the Volunteers, Bob, as you pointed out, look to drive. There's Hobson, and it's an offensive foul.
That was a very good call in the lane. There's great position there. Now that's, if we can run that, the offensive man with the ball has got to stop right there and go up for the shot. He went a step too far, and if he'd have gone up right at the foul line, he has the shot.
Bruce was asking for the field goal. He didn't complain about the foul, but apparently had not released the ball.
I don't think there should have been a basket there. I think there was contact before he released the ball, and that's what you determine that on.
And Frederick picks up where he started the game, draining a 3-ball after hitting his first 3. They shut him down, and he missed 4 field goal attempts down the stretch in the first half.
You know, Brent, that was what we were talking about there. They gave him too much room. They did not get in his hands to prevent him from having the opportunity to get set for the shot, and he did, and he made it.
What a fine block by Muldrow on Hobson that time, and coming back.
That was a shot fake. Too much pressure on the shooter.
Back to Mays from Tyler Smith, who kisses. Great athletic play by Tyler Smith to bat it back.
Absolutely, and plus the fact that there's a tremendous little change of direction made going into the bucket on the part of Tennessee. There's a kind of a false ball screen and a reverse away from the ball screen.
Holmes on the drive. Missed that time. One and done there is Tyler Smith with the defensive rebound. And he's going to put it down. Penetrate drive. And it's blocked by Muldrow again. But picked up by the Volunteers. And that's a no whistle.
Oh, my.
A knockdown and no whistle.
Oh, my. That absolutely has to be a charge.
Crowd certainly agrees with you on that. Prince looking inside. Coming to the baseline. Now he hits Chisholm in low. Ball is knocked out. 7 on that shot clock.
There's a little bit too much pushing going on in the post right now. So, they gotta make a call in there and get those guys inside settled down a little bit.
Valentine, Crawford, and Petty are 3 officials working this up-tempo game. 2-point, 46-48 turnaround, missed it, and the Gamecocks can come down and tie. Stolen underneath. Prince puts it back in. When you're named Prince, you got to be able to steal one out of reach and put it back.
You know, that was a very poor South Carolina play there. The kid kind of looked at Prince and gave him a little static. And while he was giving Prince the static, Prince is taking the ball.
This from the perimeter again, and one and done. South Carolina has out-rebounded only one SEC opponent. Hobson on the pull-up and into Downey's hands, and now they come back.
Really a good move by Hobson because he stopped to get the shot.
Moving out of control, Downey was getting to the baseline that time. Thinking of looking for the foul. Smith's open underneath. Can't put in an easy one, comes back, and there's another offensive rebound.
Well, they beat them down the floor again, and what Holly was talking about relative to defensive conversion, Tennessee is still getting back on offense quicker than the Gamecocks are getting down on defense. Good help from the ball screen. He carried the ball. It was a good call. He carried the ball right across the foul line. These guards are really quick, Brent. They create a real problem by starting to the ball screen, and it looks like the defense on the screener is going to have to switch. And the defensive man on the ball, it looks like he's trying to fight over, and then all of a sudden, he refuses the ball screen and goes the other way, and that puts a lot of pressure on the Tennessee defense.
Liz Horn spotted the fact that Downey was breathing hard, and so they're going to give him a break right now. Tyler Smith is off iron, but again, he's got it back. Prince will kick to him, and here comes the 3. And in the lineup right now is Brandis Rayleigh Ross, so he'll get a shot. With Downey out, and I'm sure it'll be a brief break.
Good help right there. Good, ended up being a good switch and a lot of pressure on the shooter. Not a good shot.
Williams wrestles it away. Tab tries to feed him and was knocked out of bounds by South Carolina.
What they had to do there was get the ball back outside and look for another passing angle for the post.
We'll take a break. Tennessee is up by 6, 52-46. For Louisville as of late, and West Virginia, Butler averaging better than 17 a game. So beautiful break after the timeout, and an easy hoop that time for Tab.
South Carolina just fell asleep. You know, they're thinking that they're going to. In fact, I don't know what they were thinking. I don't think they were even set up at all. They put everybody up high, and there was nobody back in a position to help out, and they just got a simple back cut because they all lined up high. That was a really, really good halftime move.
Rayleigh Ross stays on the floor, and it pays a dividend. Downey continues to watch. Now it is Smith, and he's going to become a primetime player because of a problem with family illness. He transferred from Iowa back.
He stepped over the line. I'm telling you, he stepped over the line right there.
And now it'll go over. A blocking foul against Williams as he set a pick. Just before that was when his heel appeared to touch the line, huh?
Yeah, we didn't quite get it all.
So there was the foul on Williams, and that turnover created gives it right back to South Carolina. They're down by 5 back.
Smith was pulling his jersey, I think, asking to be taken out. I might have told Smith to quit pulling his jersey. Now, there was a use of the ball screen, but the thing was pretty jammed up, and Downey couldn't really go anywhere. Really, really good help defense by Tennessee. They put the ball in a position where there was a difficult shot.
Major action at this end offensively for Tennessee, and finally cleared out. They're going to have to clean it up in the post. Valentine's got to blow that whistle underneath. It's getting a little rough down there, Bob, as Downey misses the shot. These guys are pounding into each other.
Yeah, I said that a moment ago. I think they got to get that whole inside game straightened out a bit. Now, down at the other end, South Carolina has just got to be a little bit more patient, I think, with what they're doing. They're beginning to slip behind a little bit now. A bucket by Tennessee here, threatens the lead pretty quick to get to double figures, and you always hate to see that when you're sitting on the bench coaching. These kids, Tennessee's kids, got a lot of 6'5", 6'6" kids that are long.
Offensive foul.
That are long and can take the ball to the bucket and get up in the air. Now, there was a good offensive foul charge right there, a charging foul that was called. And there have been a couple that were, I think you mentioned too, there as you were broadcasting, where guys got knocked down, nothing. You can't have anybody knocked down with a drive to the bucket and something not be called. South Carolina's run a little cut into the lane off the post man. They let Downey have that ball screen, or let Zam have it, and they get a move to the bucket. They're going to have to make that shot when they get in there.
Muldrow, after wrestling it away, misses from the right baseline after a fine job in pulling down a rebound. And here's Williams with a good tap over to Chisholm. And Chisholm is fouled. He'll be shooting a pair.
Really good pass by the big kid off the high post, and it was an excellent reaction, as you'll see, by Chisholm here. Here's the pass. He looks, makes that feed, and Chisholm made a very, very good cut reading the defense. The best way to cut, here you're going to see on a back cut, the best way to cut, Brent, is to read the defensive man. The defensive man goes high, cut low. If the defensive man goes low, cut high. But know where he is to make your cut. All right, the feed, little look inside, and there's the bucket. Not the bucket, but the foul right there. Really good cut. And again, the big kid, Williams, was open, but he looked at the cutter, and he knew where he was, and he made the pass.
Chisholm with 8 points, and I believe a blocking foul.
No, he grabbed him.
Did he grab him?
Yeah, he grabbed him. He grabbed him on the lane, so that gave South Carolina the ball no matter what.
So they'll see if they can take advantage of it, trailing by 6 at the 13-minute mark of the second half. Frederick is up. He's going to be checking back in.
There's the ball screen and picked up by the big guy. Now they got the big guy on it. We got good pressure on the shooter, too. Big kid. Yeah, and Chisholm did a great job on defense there.
The three ball is drained by Chisholm at the other end.
Chisholm there made a great offensive play. He got his feet set and shooting quickly before he could set up his feet, Brent. Not very many kids do that.
South Carolina needs a timeout. They take one here. They have fallen back by 9 points. We are back, and Tennessee has built a 58-49 lead over South Carolina, Bob, and I know you're impressed by the freshman Hobson.
Well, I think Hobson is going to be a great player for the future because he's that size, that great size that he's 5'6" or 6'5" or 6", right there. Run that back again real quick. He gets his feet set up out there, and here's Chisholm. Look how Chisholm has the ball. Watch his right foot. He steps into the shot, And that's just what Hobson did, and we're going to show you Hobson again. This is a young player getting set. Now, he's set. Watch that right foot. He's got it in front of the left, and he goes up in perfect balance, and that's why those 2 threes are made.
Very highly recruited young man, signing with Tennessee, and he'll get major minutes here down the stretch, not only tonight, but the season finale and then the upcoming tournaments that they'll play. I figure that Tennessee is pretty much a lock because of their strength of schedule for the NCAA, even if they don't win the East. And Holmes, who was very successful from that block in the first half, he was having a little more difficulty here in the second half against the Volunteers. Saving it, they bring it around to Tab, and then the 3, and it is good by Prince. Don't smoke the victory cigar too early in me.
Yeah, I'd have taken him out right then. You know, you don't need that. You don't need those kind of signs and indications and things that bring them on yourself, bring attention to yourself like that.
And this time, Holmes is successful.
Yeah. And even there, he fought a little physical contact to get the ball in. Good trap, but there's Chisholm again. Now he's not going to hit that one.
Air ball and a foul, score the Prince field goal. And he comes to the line. The crowd was already upset.
Well, you know, Prince was very alert there, Brent. It was an air ball, but he got to where it was coming down and then used the bucket on that reverse to protect the ball.
Holmes is lucky he just didn't get a tee from Valentine. We'll be right back.
March features the best sports lineup tailored for the true sports fan. 16 nations show off their pride on the 2009 World Baseball Classic. Wednesday and Friday nights, sit back and enjoy NBA action. Fridays are reserved for fantastic fights on Friday Night Fights. What are you made of? All this and more in March, only on ESPN.
Playback ESPN, the NBA, the Cavaliers versus the Spurs.
Throws it away. Wanted to get a lot past to Bonner. Here comes James on the roll. Down it goes.
Now wait a second. Did I see Tony Parker get out of the way or what?
James takes his time. Gibson puts up the 3. Won't go. James takes it away and throws it down. Udoka had the ball there, but James just took it out of his hands.
Now that was impressive. I mean, he came out of nowhere.
I think he controls the game, controls the tempo a lot better. And I think his shot selection is better. And he's just shooting with a lot more confidence.
Over on ESPN2, you've got Villanova against Providence. Very important game for Providence as they try and play their way into the field. Dwayne Anderson, though, just lines up a 3 and lets it fly. As right now, Villanova has a comfortable lead at 7, 56-49. Meanwhile, we told you about the rivalry between Xavier and Dayton. No lie. Look at these two teams go at it. This is pregame, as you can see. Fans not even in the crowd yet. 37 minutes before tip-off. Brent, back to you.
Yeah, folks are getting a little testy, and here Holmes has taken a seat after he tried to draw a foul from Williams. And Bob, you say there's a couple of fouls that they didn't call early.
Well, you're going to see some right there. Guys are shoving each other and pushing each other, and they're going to do it again. And here they are again with it, the same thing, and nothing called. Now, you just can't let that stuff go, or you're going to be involved in a real mess inside. That's just very poor officiating down there.
Now, Valentine came over late on this play and warned Holmes about flopping. And Holmes is lucky that Valentine turned away because I happen to be reading lips. And I want to tell you something. Saying that to Ted Valentine's an automatic tee, but instead he'll take a little bit of a break. And South Carolina's under the gun all of a sudden, Bob.
What a great move by Downey off the ball screen, Brent. He didn't let the guy switching to him get him, and he had room between the screener and the screen defense, and he made a third guy pick him up in the lane. A great pass. That kid can really, really move with the ball.
Looking for another big play. So that is the 16th foul. Offense the call.
That's not the easiest thing to do, is give up your body to draw the charge, but that saved South Carolina a bucket because of a slide over into the lane of the driver, holding position, and getting the charge.
Needed that three. One and done. The man open is Tyler Smith at the other end.
That's got to be an intentional foul.
No question. They called it immediately.
That was a really ill-advised shot at this point. You know, South Carolina's down 11. It's going to be under 10 minutes and just another 16 seconds. And then that was a really good call. Sometimes they let that go and just call it an ordinary foul. But that was an intentional foul. But back again at the other end. Downey needs to take more time. He made such a great play before that in taking the ball to the bucket and setting up a basket. And here, he only used up about 7 seconds on the clock when they needed a real good basket, and they didn't use any patience the last possession.
Now they get the ball. And he's been struggling here in the second half. He's been held down. Here comes Prince.
It's always good coverage of the inbounds play on the baseline when the offense has to throw the ball all the way out. Now, South Carolina's in a zone now. And, well, that's a great bucket against the zone. Use the dribble to penetrate. Now, he stepped across the line, so the ball reverts again to Tennessee right under the bucket. As I was saying, the penetration of the zone with the dribble sets up so many things, and it led to a layup on that possession.
Now this game is getting away from South Carolina. They're going to have to gather themselves. This is really, they're losing contact right now with the Volunteers. Down by 14 inside of 10 minutes. Tennessee wins here, and they will clinch the SEC East.
Now we've got the zone a little bit lopsided here. Well, you just can't let guys drive like that against the zone. And that's great. I've always thought that the best weapon against the zone is dribble penetration. And in the first two possessions of the South Carolina zone, Tennessee has penetrated, gotten a layup, penetrated, and gone to the foul line for two.
As we look at the DiGiorno's tournament resume for South Carolina, and you can see that their RPI is 41. That would be good enough to get in, but they could suffer a little damage tonight here with a loss. They did not have a tough non-conference schedule. You can see the rating on that there. So a very important 940 coming up here for the Gamecocks.
That's 4 points right here in the last 13 seconds caused by South Carolina mistakes. Stepping across the baseline gave them 2, and then giving up the drive on the baseline again gave them 2 more. So they've added 4 points to their lead here in just about 10 seconds on mistakes.
The second half, South Carolina shooting only 29% as Coach Pearl and the Volunteers toughen up that defense. Frederick has to kick it back out.
Really good defense on the part of Tennessee. Getting out on Smith, got out on the ball, and he's back on the ball again. Good pass.
And no whistle. Stolen though. Frederick. And a great feed and a block by Chisholm, who's had some big-time moments here.
Well, I didn't see anything wrong with either one of those blocks. You know, the kid kept body away from him, got a hand up on the ball. Very aggressive plays, but I don't think there was any foul there. All right, we're back in the zone again. Now this is given up in 2 possessions. It's given up 4 points. So let's see here. Now if he reverses it, that point man is out of position. There's an open shot.
Missed an open 3 and into Rayleigh Ross's hands. And Coach Horn uses his zone only as a change of pace. He said in practice to us that they don't use it very often. Missing the long shot of Rayleigh Ross, one and done. Rebounding right now, Bob, is 37-16 Tennessee.
Well, and you know, that was another 7-second possession. And now we've got some action in the post where they're going to call South Carolina for holding or shoving in the post. And that always has to happen to straighten it out inside. So you get a foul called like that, when it happens, it'll prevent a lot of stuff from happening from this point on.
That was Holmes who picked up that foul. They have quieted this big crowd, too, with this second-half performance, the Volunteers.
I think Coach Pearl is telling them to take a little bit of time. You know, with their quickness, they can manufacture shots in a hurry. But now, with the lead they've got, take a little bit of time, get the ball, turn around, big guy, Williams.
And Tyler drives in left-handed.
Got 6 points in 3 possessions against the zone, and they've all been a result of penetration of the zone.
Downey on a floater. Archie in underneath. Yes.
And one.
So we'll take a break before the free throw here. And Wayne Chisholm has been a man here tonight for the Volunteers. Beautiful block. They blocked 7 shots. In a fine performance, and you know, if it's this time of year, there's another sport that folks are paying attention to down in SEC country, and that is spring football. Coach Bob Knight went out to Steve Spurrier's initial practice here today and had a chance to talk to the Gamecocks. Made a little bit of an observation about one of the hairdos there, suggesting that the young man needed a haircut, but then he said, you know, it's not. Well, you tell the story, Bob.
Well, I used him as an example, and I said, you know, I'd make sure you got a haircut, but that doesn't mean anything. It's your heart that counts. It's the heart of the player, not the looks of the player that counts.
And Bob, is Steve optimistic about this fall?
Yeah, I think so. I thought that he felt good about some kids they had coming in, kids they had coming back, and I think he's really looking forward to the season. And, you know, after he introduced me, I said, the reason why I think your coach is so good is that he was a heck of a player in high school basketball, and he was a very good player. In Tennessee, in fact.
And Holly, they'll have a new quarterback here at South Carolina this year.
All right, now South Carolina went into an all-court defense right there, and there isn't anything better than when they put that trap press on you, score against it at the other end. It's just mathematical logic. When 2 guard 1, the rest of the floor you're playing 4 on 3, and that's how they got the bucket.
Go ahead, Holly.
Well, Coach, you know, they haven't, not necessarily new, but he is going through spring practice for the first time. Steven Garcia was a kid that came in here, had a lot of high hopes, but some off-the-field problems kept him out of spring practice for the last 2 seasons. So today, he looked pretty good. He needs to become a leader for them. But, guys, what I was most impressed with, they have a new offensive line coach, and I stood down by the Big Uglies. They were getting after it. So South Carolina can get an offensive line. SEC might want to watch out.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see here in the East. Urban Meyer in Florida, of course, will need another national championship. Lane Kiffin, new head coach at Tennessee. We'll see what happens. Right here, Tennessee with a little bit of stranglehold. Are they running time off the clock too early, Bob? What's your feeling?
No, I don't think so. They had a pushing foul over there that you surely don't want that kind of a foul when you're running some time off. They had plenty of time left on the clock, Brett, and I think it's a smart move for them. They're looking to make a move to the bucket. They don't have it. They back it back out, and they've got that great quickness with the ball. And they had an 18-point lead and South Carolina got 3 of it back, and then immediately took a bad shot and got beat on conversion again. Conversion defense has just hurt them the whole ball game.
No foul as Holmes goes down again.
Now, see, I don't think that was a foul. And I'll tell you why, because he had his head right in on Holmes' face, and he gave him no room to turn. And he's got to have enough room to turn.
The floater, Downey got back his own miss, and this time there's a foul call. Let's go back to that elbow, Bob, and take a look here.
All right, now see, he had his head right over the kid's shoulder, and all the kid was doing with the ball was turning to see what was going on. Now, I would not have called that a foul because the guy went in there at his own risk. He was too close. He's got to give the guy room to make a move.
So Downey and Frederick have been stifled here in the second half. You can see what they produced in the first half, Bob, and they've been held to a total of 4 points.
We know. You look at Tennessee's lineup out here. There isn't anybody under 6'5" on that lineup, and they're all quick. And those are guys that are guarding the 2 guards. See, that's about as quick as you can get the ball down the floor. It was a great pass, and again, it was drive and look, and on the look, he found the man, and there was a layup.
Taking it on through. Ball's out of bounds.
You know, what they've done too, Brent, what Tennessee has done, they've done a much better job helping out on the South Carolina guards, although they left him completely. They got lost there. They weren't paying attention there. But basically, they've done a better job on the South Carolina guards than South Carolina had done on the Tennessee guards. Boy, I don't know how they just left the guy wide open on the inbounds play.
That was really Ross who drained that one.
That's his second, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And on the entry pass this time, the foul is called. And so a reminder that NBA action coming up. Tomorrow night, the Cavaliers and the Celtics, 2 best teams in the East, followed by the Nuggets against the Jazz. And in ESPN, of course, your NBA destination for Friday night with Muldrow on the free throw line here for the Gamecocks.
Tennessee's got to try and get this lead down under 10. They got to get it back into single digits and maybe have 3 minutes to play. And they've got a lot. They got a lot on the table with what could be a 13-point lead that they have to overcome here with under 5 minutes to play.
5. Now make it 6 points for Muldrow.
Right now they're in that full court press and they can't give up layups. And that's where I think Tennessee is very good. You know, they're able to get one guy open, and now they've got to take. There's a guy open.
Attacking the basket, Chisholm lays it in.
That's just exactly what you can't give up. If you're going to pick up full court, you've got to get back quicker.
Downey, and he'll be on the free throw line. Shooting a pair.
No. That's a charge
on him?
Yeah, I think that's a good call. We run that back. We're going to see a stationary defender right there. I don't know. There's a little bit of both there. That's kind of a discretionary call on the part of the official.
A tough call. Prince comes down and flushes, and they're shooting layups.
Chisholm made a great screen. It was like a blockout screen on the baseline that gave him that driving lane. They have attacked the basket so well this whole game, Brent, and that's been South Carolina's downfall.
4:21 to go. One and done. 41-19, the rebounding edge for Tennessee.
That might have been a shot that Smith would ordinarily have taken, but they're going to get an extra 20 seconds off the clock because Smith held off with the shot, and I think that is really good because when they drive, they're getting fouled a lot, and I think this is going to be the case here. He's kind of tempting him. He's trying to get a little advantage. Really good job done by Mulrow, but not quite good enough.
And a putback by Prince.
It takes quite an athlete to make that play. Kind of an off-balance shot that he misses and get up and stuff it.
Archie fouled at the other end. So 50 points in the paint for Tennessee. And here is the athletic ability of Prince as he dominates. Goes for the layup, and then watch the lay-in. And he's got a lot of emotion as the Volunteers close in on the SEC East. Now in the SEC, Tennessee with its biggest lead over South Carolina. But here is a graphic, Bob, which is worth discussing. Percentage of points in the SEC scored by seniors of the tournament hopefuls. I want you to concentrate on down at the bottom. Tennessee, all right? If you don't think this team doesn't have a future, when I saw that graphic, I said, "Are you guys kidding me?" I said, "No, this is the way it is." I mean, Bruce Pearl lost his senior leadership after last season, their run to the Sweet 16. I believe they lost to Louisville, if memory serves me correct. And I apologize if I'm wrong about that. But the point I want to make, Bob, is that the great future that this team has. And I know you've been impressed by how the big guys have driven to the hoop here.
Well, you know, great future, absolutely. But think about these young guys playing this well on the road in a game to determine the Eastern Championship. You know, one of the things that's really impressed me in this game, and they've drawn so many fouls going to the bucket like they have there. But, Brent, with 5 minutes to play, South Carolina was looking at a 13-point deficit. They had to get the ball back. They had to get it under 10 in maybe the last 3 minutes. But what happened was, in the next minute and a half, Tennessee scores 6 points. So instead of getting it under 10, it's a 19-point lead for them, and they got a chance here to stretch it to 20. I mean, this team playing like this, like we saw Memphis play against Gonzaga, this team playing like this can beat a lot of teams.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people think of Bruce Pearl, a lot of outsiders, as just a marketing genius and a recruiter. I got to tell you, I'm impressed with the coaching of Bruce and that entire staff with the young team.
They've just worn South Carolina's defense out tonight. You know, they've gotten to the bucket before South Carolina can react to help or positioning. They've looked for people going, and that's just another example right there. But again, I always believe that with that kind of contact, there has to be a foul.
Rayleigh Ross driving to the hoop that time. So Tennessee is about 2.5 minutes away now from wrapping up the SEC East, and then if they can make their way to the finals of the SEC tournament next week in Tampa, that was the earliest that they could play LSU.
Really nice move by Prince there. He had a wide open three, but he says to himself, let's take off 10 more seconds. Now they've got
they got a little dash to them, don't they, Coach? And here's first at noon now, Saturday on ESPN. It'll be Michigan, Minnesota. That's a bubble game in the Big Ten. Then at 9, Bob, you'll be going up to West Virginia to see our friend Bob Huggins against Rick Pitino and Louisville. Louisville, one of those teams, folks, that does have a chance to wind up with the number 1 seed. There's about 7 or 8 teams that are a little bit in that mix, depending on what happens.
Louisville playing as well as they can play and Tennessee playing as well as they can play would be a heck of a game to watch.
Wouldn't it, though? Might meet again. Who knows? There's a layup attempt missed by Archie when he got in close. The rebounding difference, 42-20 here tonight. Interesting, Bob, what do you make of the fact the Gamecocks have blocked 9 shots to Tennessee's 7, and yet they're so badly out-rebounded, but yet they're shot blockers?
You know, the shot block leads to a lot of fouls, too. You know, they've each saved a couple of baskets from one another, but I don't think that shot block has been nearly as important in here as the fact that they've just driven all night long. They've driven from every position on the floor, and South Carolina has almost been helpless to stop the drive. And each time somebody gets a basketball on the perimeter, that whole defense has got to rotate toward the ball. And when they rotate toward the ball, then they make it that much more difficult for the driver to get to the bucket. Then, if the ball is reversed, they've got to get outside, get back outside, recover to the ball, and they just have not done that at all in tonight's ball game.
Yeah, and the other side of the coin, Tennessee, I don't think that's a team you want to draw in the first round of the NCAA tournament. There's an awful lot of good-looking athletes, and last time I checked, he had 9 men who had scored in this game.
Well, the first round ain't going to make any difference. It's going to be those teams that are in the second or third round, I don't think want to play Tennessee the way they're playing tonight. But I think this will probably be, and I bet Coach Pearl would be willing to agree with us, this is as good a game as Tennessee has played all year. They haven't been careless. They haven't made mistakes. They've been able to drive the ball, and they've just kept at it. And now they've played these last 5 minutes with great patience. They went into it with a 13-point lead, and now they have an 18-point lead. And that's a result of the patience that they've had and the way they've worked with the basketball.
Bob, I think it's very important for South Carolina to regroup, to go to Athens, and take care of business against Georgia over the weekend in there. I mean, this, if there are committee members watching, this has not been a strong performance. They did not have a good non-conference record. I don't want to put them on the bubble because they've had a, but in effect, they may be on the, this has not been a strong year for the SEC. Let's be honest about it.
Well, what I think that Coach Horn will do with South Carolina, what I would like to do is I'd come in tonight and I'd say, okay, boys, we're going to come in tomorrow and we're going to look at our defense. We're going to see where we made so many mistakes defensively. Let's get our mind attuned to playing defense in our last ball game on Saturday. And if we go on the road and play defense the way we've played it through most of the year, we're going to be fine in that game. But this game means a lot to us, and we're going to win it with our defense. And I don't think you can dwell on this very much. Tennessee has just been extremely good tonight right from the beginning.
Yeah, they withstood the barrage of three balls as Pearl's son is out there defending the shot at that time, and so it's nice to pick up some garbage minutes for Stephen Pearl and some of these youngsters. Of course, a reminder that coming up next, Illinois Penn State presented by T. Rowe Price. It's Thursday Night Hoops. There is the coach's son. And I asked both of them. I said, Pops, do you want the son to become a coach? He said, no way, no way. And I said, that's always what coaches say. But here, your son, and he came up with his biggest win of the year last night. They blew out Kansas, Texas Tech did, down home. And what did you think when Pat told you initially, I want to become a coach?
Well, he's a smart kid, and there are a lot of things I think he could do. He's good with people. He meets people well. He is good in a group. He talks well. I think there are a lot of things he could do, but he wanted to coach, and I talked to him about it at great length, but he just was steadfast in wanting to coach. And I said, okay, if that's what you want, then I'll do whatever I can to help you. And I was extremely pleased, not so much at the win last night, but the fact that his defense allowed Kansas 65 points, and that put the game within reach of Tech's offense.
And here tonight, Tennessee wins the SEC East. They'll be the #1 seed for the East in the upcoming SEC tournament, regardless of what happens over the weekend. And let's go quickly to Holly Rowe with one of the heroes, Tyler Smith. Take it away, Holly.
Well, Tyler, at the half, this was a close ball game, and South Carolina's guards have been killing you, but you come back out. Devin Downey has 1 point in the second half. What did you guys change?
We just try to wall him off. He's a great guard. He penetrates well and gets it to his shooters. So we just try to get him the ball. Get the ball out of his hands as much as possible.
You guys had your backs to the wall. You weren't in it for this championship hunt. What was it like tonight to have some of that championship experience to go for this win?
Just some of the players being here last year, the veterans we got stepped up with JP and Wayne and myself included. So we're just trying to get a championship in the SEC East, and that's what we came out to do tonight.
All right, well, one step accomplished so far. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. And Bob, how difficult is it for Coach Horn? You said what he has to do defensively. Will these kids be emotionally down after losing a game like this badly?
Well, I think they've done such a good job over the course of the year of playing against good teams. This was an exception here tonight. This was a very poor performance compared to what South Carolina's had in the past. And I think they just got to get over it. I don't think it would do any good to come in and really be upset and raise Cain with the kids after this game, because they are better than they played tonight. And a lot of it had to do with what Tennessee did in driving the ball to the bucket and looking for people. And I'd want them rested too, Brett. They got to play again on Saturday. I wouldn't spend much time working. I'd spend a lot of time talking and going over our defense.
So Tennessee comes in an underdog and walks away with a 16-point win, 86-70. For Bob Knight and Holly Rowe, I'm Brent Musburger. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now, let's go to Big John Saunders and Coach Fran in the studio. Take it away, John.
Brent, thanks